in Europe, they care so much about documentation. You don't just say something for people to believe you. You have to prove it.
Hello, you're welcome to the PEEVEE show's Moments of Truth. If you are joining us for the first time, remember to click on the subscription button to subscribe to this show.
It's a great honor to have you on this week's episode of the PEEVEE show. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation.
Thank you also for having me. I really appreciate your time and efforts.
You're welcome.
And thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
All right, so we will take a little introduction from you. Who is Ruben?
Okay, I'm a Ghanaian by birth. I live in a city in Finland called Vasa. Quite a very small city, but I love the city because it's a very international city. I have lived in Finland for over a decade. I'll be 11 years in January. There are about 66,000 people in my city, so it's quite a small city. Although it's a small city, it's very, very, very international. And very international in the sense that it's a city with a lot of schools, a lot of companies, and it's a very international environment as well.
Okay.
And it is the only city in Finland that speaks 3 languages, that is English, Finnish, and Swedish.
Okay. Wow, that's great. So on this week's episode of the PEEVEE show, we are bringing to our audience how to gain admission into European universities and vocational schools. Why has it become very important for us to tackle this particular topic? Why do you think it's very important for us to tackle this topic? Yeah. Yes,
thank you for your question. I think that this topic brings into being how the world is moving now. You know that the world is a global village now. So it is not enough to have education in your country. You need international exposure as well. You need to understand cultures. You need to understand people from other cultures. And it is quite very important for us to understand that this topic will help us broaden our knowledge in education outside the shores of Ghana. So if one wants to then work in an international environment, then education in Ghana is not enough, but you need to think about education abroad. That is why it is important for us to treat this topic.
Okay. All right. So I'm a young lady or a young guy trying to find my way to one of the European universities or vocational schools. Where do I start from? How do I gain admission into any European university or school of my choice? How do I start? How do I gain an admission to any of them? Yeah.
Great. The first thing you have to ask yourself is, what do you want? What is your career goal? Where do you want to get to? Sometimes a lot of people get in touch with me and you ask them and they don't know what they want. After knowing what you want, then you have to think about the requirements as well. Okay. If you fall within the requirements, then you can apply for it. So the most important thing is for you to know what you want, your career goals, and then if you want to really travel abroad and go through changing of the environment, it's something that a lot of people fear to do, that they don't want to change their environment. But if you want to change your environment, if you want to try something new, if you want to work not within your comfort zone, then it is something for you.
Okay.
Yes, that is it.
Okay. So we'll go to our next set of questions. Now you've given us how I can gain admission into any of the European universities, but what are the requirements? Yeah.
Yes, I think that my focus now will be on Scandinavian countries, because that is where that is my master. When we talk of Scandinavian countries, we are talking about Finland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and this is the countries that I'll touch on. I'll also talk about other European countries like Spain, Germany, Holland, United Kingdom. They are now out of you. One thing is that it depends on what you want. If you want to study in your PhD, for example, you should know that the first requirement is that you should have your master's degree, MSc. And sometimes MBA is not enough, because MBA is for professionals. So an MSc in Europe, we see it as for academicians. So MSc, and some of the schools require that you write what we call International English Language Test System, also known as IELTS. So it is something that you have to write. It is mostly organized by British Council in Ghana. That is for PhD. Then you also have to write a research proposal, And the research proposal should be focusing on a particular topic that you want to, a particular research area or research topic. So that is for the PhD students. For master's degree, we all know that the requirement is a first degree. So that's how it works. For the first degree, then you have to also write IELTS, also known as International English Language Test System. Then you can also write a motivation letter. A motivation letter should include the reason why you are applying for the course, and what motivates you to get into such a career. But if you are not within this, if you don't have all these, then you want to get into the vocational school, then West African Senior Secondary Certificate Exam, also known as WASI, is enough, or a senior high school result is enough to get into an admission here. And in all these cases, you need to write the English language, that is the IELTS, because in Europe, they require that you need that. But also some business schools require the GRE. GRE or GMAT as well. So these are the major requirements that I know most people in Ghana can get into.
Okay, all right. But then what happens? You mentioned a lot of things, but I am a young person. I really want to further my education abroad, but I don't have money. So even think of coming up there. My parents don't have money, but I'm good. My performance is quite good. Are there some scholarships available, and how do I get these scholarships? And also, who are these scholarships for? You know, there are some scholarships that are available, but maybe I am a journalist, and those scholarships are not available for my category of profession. So if you could help us, how, if I want to further my education abroad and I don't have money, what are some of the scholarship opportunities I have to look out for?
What are the scholarship opportunities, and who are these scholarships for? For the first place, scholarships are for everyone, provided that you meet the minimum requirements. So it's for everyone. Everyone can apply for. And there are two types. I can say there are a lot of scholarships out there that they are into categories. There is one we call the tuition-free scholarship, and there is half tuition scholarship, and there is full scholarship. The half tuition scholarship is like they ask you to pay for half of or part of the tuition fees. Then the full scholarship is they pay you don't pay the tuition fees, and then they also give you an amount of money every month for your feeding and accommodation. And there is tuition-free scholarship where you don't have to pay for fees, but you have to take care of your feeding and accommodation. And it's for everyone, provided that you meet the minimum requirements. However, Finland didn't charge school fees for some years back. When I came to Finland 10 years ago, there was no school fees at all for first degree, second degree, but like 5 years ago. But if you want to get into the vocational school here, then you don't pay school. You get to the school or you get admission into the school. You don't pay tuition at all. However, for your first degree, some of the schools require that you pay. If, for example, this year they were able to give 75% rebate for everyone who comes on board. You don't need anything special. As far as you apply, you get it. But for PhD is absolutely free. You don't pay for anything.
Oh.
You don't pay zero. And for PhD as well, you are given monthly what we call funding, research funding. And research funding is mostly available and they give it to you every month, sometimes 2,000 euros, sometimes 1,000 euros every month until the end of your studies. So it is for everyone. It depends on where you want to go and what you want.
And then, do you mind sharing with us some of the scholarship opportunities where I can easily get access to scholarship? You know, there are some sites or some places. Yeah.
Yes, very good. Yes, very good. When you go to www.mastersportal, so mastersportal.eu, that is .com, sorry. That is a portal where you can find everything there, all the schools you want. You can find it there.
Mastersportal.com or
.com or .eu. Okay. Any of them, you can find it there. And mastersportal.com is not limited to Europe alone. You can find it schools everywhere in the world. You can also, in Finland, you can also find studyinfo.fi. And then the schools are there. You can get all the schools there and you can find out, you just search for your area where you want to study, whatever you want to study, then you can have access to the schools. And having access to the schools does not necessarily give you scholarship or when you apply, but you have to have some kind of grade. Sometimes your motivation letter counts and etc.
Okay.
So that is it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So someone sent in a message. Okay, so let's go to this before we go there. After getting the scholarship, what are the immigration requirements? Are there some requirements when it comes to immigration? Yeah.
Very good. This is the most challenging part of the whole process because immigration in every country is a very important thing.
Okay.
In Africa, it's something that sometimes we don't take it serious, but in Europe, it is a very serious thing. So before you arrive in Finland, for example, you should have your documents in a lot popularly called papers.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you have your documents, it's quite easy for you. The requirements are different. If you have a full scholarship, if you have a full scholarship, that is, if your tuition is being paid for you by the school, then you just apply for what we call a residence permit for study. The residence permit for study will grant you access to studying here and working at the same time. Mostly immigration requires that you need 6,720 euros in your account to take care of your feeding.
How much is that in Ghana cedis?
That is 45,000 Ghana cedis. But it is something that, to be honest, it is a requirement. It doesn't mean that is what you are going to spend.
Okay.
It is a requirement.
Okay.
If you don't, this is for people who don't get the full scholarship. It is a requirement, and immigration also requires that you need a sponsor. So a sponsor who write a letter that endorse that if anything, he or she is there to support you throughout your study.
Okay.
So the 45,000 cedis or the 6,720 euros is 6,720 euros is subject to change based on the current exchange rate.
Okay.
So you need that money. You need a sponsor, and you will be the student will be the beneficiary, and the sponsor should be someone who is working, who has a work contract. In Ghana, people don't take care of these things, but here is a different thing. That is what we talk about the culture thing. In Europe, they care so much about documentation. You don't just say something for people to believe you. You have to prove it.
It's not like
so
Ghana.
If you are telling me, no, not at all, not at all. Because everybody can say anything, right?
Yeah.
But it's something that has to prove. So if you are saying that you have a sponsor, the sponsor should prove how he or she is going to sponsor you. Is it through his work? Then through your work, okay. The sponsor says he's getting like 10,000 cedis, 7,000 cedis a month. What is the proof? You need pay slips, you need work contracts, and you need bank statements to prove that this is it. So it is not like you just say it, but you have to prove with documents. Okay. So that is very, very important, because I always tell people that the process is very cumbersome, especially with the immigration. So you need someone to guide you through the process. Otherwise, it is very, 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 very cumbersome. Also, I think that one other thing we have to know is that most of the embassies are not in Ghana. Finnish embassy is not in Ghana. Swedish embassy is not in Ghana. So you need to go to Abuja, Nigeria, to have your resident permit interview for the resident permit. So that is it. And then immigration also requires that you need what we call insurance.
Okay.
Like we say, everything is different. We are moving into a different terrain right now. In Ghana, people don't care about insurance that much, but here they care about insurance. So you need medical insurance. So if anything happens to you here, the insurance will pay, and the insurance is about $220 per year, and you just do it for 1 year. And then and then the resident permit cost about, was it about 360 euros? At the moment, it's about 2,500 Ghana cedis.
Wow.
Remember, the resident permit will give you access to the whole of Europe. In Europe, it's a global village. So you can just pick your passport and go to Sweden. If you are living in Finland, you go to Germany, you go to Holland. You don't need a visa. You don't need a visa to go to France. You understand? So that is it. But I think that people really are scared of the immigration requirements. I have dealt with a lot of people. that is the scary part. But it is not scary at all, because if you look at how much you invest in education in Ghana for even masters alone, then this is also worth it, because if you come here, the opportunities are enormous.
All right. In fact, I hope our audience are really enjoying this program. And we have the last but one question to go. Now that I've gotten admission and passed through all the requirements, what are some of the European cultures and how can I adapt to these cultures? You made mention that when it comes to Europe, documents are very, very important.
Yes. One thing is that we have to appreciate everybody's culture. I will talk about adapting first, and before I go to the culture, you have to appreciate everybody's culture. People are different, and I can say that Northern Europeans, in Scandinavia in general, they are very, very introverts. It doesn't mean that they don't like people, but they just want to get used to you first before they open their doors to you. In Ghana, you see everybody and everybody say, hey, and everybody starts talking to you, you know. It's a total different environment. Everybody keeps to himself. Before the 2-meter COVID restrictions came, we already had that here, because when we get into queue, we love our spacing. So so this is something that wasn't new to us at all. And another thing is the culture. Another culture thing is the spacing. We need our space. You don't have to get close to us.
Okay.
We need spacing in everything we do. Another thing is that we are very, very, very time conscious. It's something that it is just like disrespect not to follow the time. That is something that you don't do at all in school or at the workplace. If for some reason you cannot make it, you just have to send a text message. Another thing is about the culture is you should also, another thing about the culture is for you to be able to adapt, you need to have an open mindset. You need to have an open mindset.
Okay.
And one other culture, yes, I'm trying to mix them because I want the audience to get it very well. Another thing is that there are no titles. We don't use titles because we don't believe that titles are respect.
What does that mean? No titles. I said you don't call somebody Mr. or boss.
No, we don't do that. There's nothing like CEO. So when you go to school, there you don't use say. I call my lectures by their first names. When I go to, I spoke to my thesis supervisor. His name is Soren. I call him Soren. He calls me Ruben. It is like we want to create an unofficial environment where you are free to talk to everyone. So when you go to the workplaces, we don't have tags on the boards like in Ghana where people put their titles, CEO, chief accountant. No, it's just the name and the number. So the president of Finland, we don't call him president. We call him Sauli Niinisto. The prime minister is called Sanna Marin. We just call them by their names, no titles, because we don't believe that we want to place everybody on the same level as far as respect is concerned. And in school, you have to respect everybody's decision.
Okay.
If someone starts, that is also another culture thing. And if someone starts answering questions, you don't, and the person is wrong, you don't tell people they are wrong in Finland. It is an insult. There is a way of telling people they are wrong. than telling them they are really, really wrong in Finland. It is a very big, because we want people to feel free, you know. I think that is the world we need to create, where people have the freedom to share their ideas. In class, people have the freedom to share their ideas because nobody will tell them you are wrong. And nobody claps for anybody in Finland in classrooms. And mostly we don't have exams.
Oh, okay. So what do you have?
We are assessed by what we call term papers.
Okay.
We are assessed by presentations. So I do a lot of presentation in class. I do my own research. I take a topic, I do the research, I go and present in class. And it's just a few of the courses that we write exams. And if you write an exam and you know that you cannot, you have failed so many times, you go to the lecturer and you tell him, hey, I can't do this course. Can you find something else for me to do? Then he will find something else for you to do. So we have that kind of flexibility as well. So that is a good thing about the whole thing, about the whole culture thing.
Okay.
So
all
just
right.
for people to.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So then our last question, we've spoken about all the things we need when it comes to how to gain admission into European universities and vocational schools. But then now I am there. I've gotten the scholarship. I'm schooling there. What are some of the challenges I need to look out for, and how do I manage these challenges? You have been there almost 11 years now. What were some of the challenges you faced, and how were you able to manage it? Yeah.
I can tell you something. When I was coming to Finland, some friends told me that this place is cold, you know.
Okay.
And you know, in Ghana, when people tell you it's cold, you know what it is. You know, plus 22 is cold, plus 16 is cold. And I got my jacket, and when I got, you know, in Europe is quite a different thing. You can get to the airport without getting out. You can straight away. So you feel normal. You feel very normal. So when I got to Finland and I was going out, when I stepped outside, I just rushed back in because it was so freezing. Yeah, so because I have to rush back in. So it wasn't cold, it was freezing. So that is one thing. The first challenge that you face, especially when you come here during the winter, is freezing weather. I wouldn't say cold. And it's very, very freezing. But how to overcome such a challenge is, they say there's nothing like bad weather. There are only bad clothes. So you need the right clothes. Yes, there's nothing like bad weather. There are bad clothes. You need the right clothes to face the weather. This is a country where the weather gets cold to the extent that the sea freezes, that we walk on it. So you can imagine if the sea freezes, then it means that it's quite a challenging one. Another challenge is the people. I think that the people are very, very introverts, and they want to mind their own business. You might think they don't like you, but they don't just open up for strangers. No, that is not how they do things. I had my Finnish parents. We were friends for 1 year, and I got their numbers after 1 year. But if it's in Africa, the first day I might get their number. So they want to create a deeper connection with you before anything. So that is something that you have to be aware of. Another thing is the food. You know, you are going to a new environment. The food is different. You wouldn't get the bankuns, the fufus, you know, the tuozafis, you know, the yams, the plantains. We have a different set of food here that you have to adapt to it. And that is something that it is something that we have to learn to do.
Okay.
Language is also another thing. Language, in Finland, you need to speak 3 languages: Finnish, Swedish, and then English. And it's not enough to speak just English, but these 3 languages. And I think that to overcome the language, then you need to practice more.
That's
Practice
true.
makes perfect,
Yeah.
and have a lot of courses in the language as far as languages are concerned. So that is it about the challenges here. And another thing that I saw that became a challenge for me personally is my ability to meet time. The timing was something that was a big challenge for me when I came here, because you can't be 1 minute late. No, it is an insult. It's like it's like you are disrespecting the person. So that is something that we at least get to the place 20 minutes on time, because it is an insult. It is an insult in Finland to be late for appointments.
Wow.
There are some appointments when you miss them, you pay for them.
Oh.
Yes,
serious.
because because they take those things very serious, and they take if you make an appointment with someone, they take it very seriously. And Finnish people want to prepare on time. They don't want you to give them pressure, so they want to have space to do things. So at the workplace, there's no pressure on you. My boss doesn't give me pressure. I work according to my time. If today I can't do it, I close, I go home. No questions whatsoever. But I have to make sure that I meet deadlines. So if your boss gives you the task and you know you can't meet it, you just tell your boss you can't meet it. So it is something that we have to be aware of.
Okay.
So that is it. I get them. Yes.
All right. But before we leave, your final words to people that are preparing to further their education abroad. If there is something you want to add up before that, that's okay.
My final words are that Europe has her own challenges for all of us. It's not as rosy as people think they are, although there are a lot of opportunities as well. So I think everybody is welcome. And when you are coming, make up your mind that the reality is different from what we have been hearing out there. However, with hard work, dedication, I think one can easily make it here in Europe.
Thank you so much for joining us, Ruben. We are very grateful. Hi, audience. Thank you very much for joining us on this week's episode of the PEEVEE Show. If you are joining us for the first time, kindly remember to click on the subscription button to subscribe to the PEEVEE Show if today is your first time joining us.